It's a pleasure meeting you all this evening.
Yes, it is. Tina, you and I have worked together for a number of years.
True.
And Tina, I would call a person, a benefits counselor, by the way, that is her forte. And she is a person that assists other individuals when they're applying for Social Security. And we're just doing a very basic webinar tonight for people to understand the different programs with Social Security. Next month, we do have another seminar scheduled, and I think it would be very important for people to attend. The topic is going to be about work incentives, and the other topic is going to be about overpayments. And if anyone has ever gotten an overpayment notice, that is alarming and shocking. So please, if you can, try to attend. But the good thing about it is that the gentleman, Gary, is here to record us for this presentation and the next one, and also the one for August 21st. So you won't miss out if you can't make those dates. So let me just start an overview of Social Security benefits programs. Oh, sorry, I keep on clicking and it keeps on going forward. So, okay. So Social Security is broken up into I would say, two overall segments, disability programs and retirement programs. And there are certain death benefits available for family members and or spouse and children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the first program that we're going to talk about is SSI. What's a typical person that would apply for SSI, Tina?
A typical person is an individual with a disability at the age of 18 who has a disability, and you will be able to apply for SSI, which is supplementary security income. And there's certain requirements. The first one naturally is the disability, and then the second one is resources. You cannot have you can't have more than $2,000. Benefits are paid automatically to the individual, and hopefully the person has a representative payee and is also eligible for food stamps. And then also, depending on the household income of the individual, you can also apply for SNAP, or what used to be called food stamps.
So let's take it back to resources. So resources is anything that's in that person's name, and that could include joint accounts,
Grandma's
yes, secret bank account,
yes,
Unified Gift Minors Act accounts, the trust accounts that has your child's name, 529s, and the bane of everyone's existence, those savings bonds.
That's coming up a lot lately because they're not spoken as much anymore, but they are coming up. It's where parents start very early and we forget about them.
So if any of you have those savings bonds, and then please cash them in, do something with them, or actually call Tina before you cash them in, and especially if your child is on SSI. Again, the threshold of $2,000 is very strict. And if you forgot about the account when you applied, later on, 2 or 3 years later, when Social Security discovers this account, and I don't know how or why or whatever means they do, they usually do discover things, even savings bonds they will send you one of those ugly notices. So I really want to stress to everyone that these resources of less than 2,000 is very important. Now, the other important thing to remember is the look back period. Social Security has a 3-year look back period. So if your child is age 15, start reviewing all those little secret accounts, and your advocacy for your child does not end with the school. It has to expand out to your family members and loved ones to say, hey, do you have any money in Johnny's name that I don't know of? Because I have had cases where grandma set up a little secret account for Johnny or Aunt Kathy from Ohio.
And Social Security will ask for proof that will go back 3 years on any account. And believe me, that Social Security number will come up all over the place.
Right. So somebody said that they had to leave early. A transcript, we're going to have a videotape of this presentation, and it will be available on our website, but it will take a couple of days. Okay? So don't worry, you won't miss anything. So the other part of Social Security is if I Social Security income, if I qualify for Social Security income, I will get Medicaid.
Correct.
Okay. So Social Security, why is it so strict? Social Security taxes are collected not on, oh, sorry about that, are collected from a general fund. So other benefits like Social Security disability benefits are collected on your own work record or some other family member's work record.
Yeah, it's the taxes you're paying out of your paycheck.
Yes. So what's the maximum living arrangement for Social Security income?
For this year, for one person is $943.
Ooh, I got that right.
I wrote it down. Yeah, $943
Mm-hmm.
and $2,000 limit again in the Social Security, in the resources that you can have in a bank. And for two people, let's say husband and wife both get SSI, the maximum, which is why some people don't get married, is $1,415 for the two of you, and $3,000 limit in a bank.
Right.
It's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Now, the New York SUP?
For one person living with others is $23. And when I'm saying living with others is when you're living with your parents and you're not paying any kind of rent, it's $23. When you start paying rent, is $85.
So the important thing is the room and lodger agreement, correct?
Correct. Yes. And it also shows proof of residency in Suffolk County.
So the room and lodging agreement, we will have a generic one up on our website, just like our videotape of this. When you want to access it, please go to the website BrandowLaw.com, and we will have this video along with a copy of this presentation and other documents pertaining to tonight's review. So I'm trying to, how can I get the maximum for SSI? So go ahead.
Well, what I would say is if your child has any money in any account, at the age of 17, if you're above the $2,000 resource limit, have that child start paying rent. Because this way, when you apply for the SSI, your child will get the $943 at the beginning. So you don't have to start sending in other paperwork. You're going to show a room and lodger agreement at the beginning of the application process, the bank statements that Social Security will want, the medical documentation, there is no online SSI application as of yet. And Social Security is not doing any in-person intakes. Everything is done by the phone, and then they will send you a stack of paperwork. And you don't have to worry about it. It's all the answers that you gave them before. They're going to ask it of you again.
So for Social Security income, our advice is I would not do the application alone. I would have it reviewed. I know there are a lot of smart parents out there. They've done some great work in getting benefits for their children. But for the Social Security income, I would have it reviewed, because inadvertently we say the most wonderful things about our children that could translate into some sort of position or job. And if I indicate that for my child, that's going to mean that it'll be a denial. And then I have to go to a reconsideration, or worse, all the way up to a hearing. And that does take quite a bit of time.
That takes some time. That takes a lot of time. See, us parents, we know our kids, and we try to, as you say, present them in the best light ever. However, the parent forgets how long it took you to get your child to learn how to brush your hair, how to brush your teeth, to remind them you have to wash your face, because after a while it becomes second nature. And what you have to think about is all of the child's deficits, how long it took you to get there. It's like teaching a baby how to walk and talk all over again. And you're a parent. You've been doing that for 18 years. You forget. You just got to remind yourself, and that's what we're here for.
So for Social Security income applications, I will just share, I do not assist parents with it. There are a lot of agencies, there are a lot of programs. Your care coordinating agency will assist you. There's other agencies, and if you feel that the care coordinating agency is not able to assist you or is not experienced with it, I know Tina does it. There's other individuals that we're aware of that assist people with SSI applications or organizations. But I would not rush through. I've had parents deal with Social Security thinking that they can share this information and they'll be transparent and it will be a slam dunk. Unfortunately,
it's not.
It's not a slam dunk.
It's not.
Okay, so let's talk about Social Security disability income. So this program pays benefits to persons and certain family members if one is insured. And what we mean by insured is we've paid into the system. And the typical period for that is 40 credits.
Correct. The younger you are, the less credits you need. As you get older, past your 30s, you're going to be needing the 40 credits. Every year, you only accrue 4 credits a year. So sometimes what I end up getting is, well, I worked off the books.
Mm-hmm.
Off the books is all well and good. You've been working since you were 16. Now you're 25 and you become disabled. Guess what? You are not insured, and you're not going to be eligible for Social Security disability insurance or income. So please work on the books. The money's being taken out of your taxes, the FICA, the FICA. That's what you're paying into. Not just in disability benefits, but also when you hit my age, retirement.
They don't know if they're on SSI, SSD, or a mixture. And
exactly, yes, absolutely.
So what is the most important report to get?
BPQY, benefits query. It will tell you exactly what benefits you are receiving. If you receive your Medicare, Medicaid, if you're SSI, SSDI, a DAC, when it started, if it stopped, It also will tell you if you have used up your trial work period, and where are you exactly in your disability history with Social Security. And it also gives you a printout of all the monies you have earned throughout your lifetime. Social Security does not charge for it. If Social Security ever says you have to pay for it, nah, wrong.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the people who work at the Social Security office, they will not know what you're talking about. I will usually send a sample of what the BPQI looks like with an explanation of this form.
The Social Security Red Book is a very useful book. You can download it and get it online, ssa.gov. I do recommend it. It has a lot of chock full of good information for you.
I call that my Bible.
Yes, yes. So what happens if I start out with SSI and I go to work?
You start off with SSI, you're going to go to work, you're going to start accruing what they say the work history credits. And eventually, as you are working, you will lose your SSI. As soon as you start working, your SSI will decrease. It has to be reported. All your income, all changes have to be reported to Social Security. As you're working, you accrue credits. Your SSI eventually could turn into SSDI under your own work history.
Mm-hmm. We love that when the individual started with SSI and the work history and they turn into their own SSDI, right?
Exactly. Now there is no resource limit unless if you have to keep your Medicaid. Mm-hmm. But for every time when you go to work, you're making $100, you deduct 20, it's considered an unearned income exclusion. You're left with 80. Then you deduct $65. That's called an earned income exclusion. Now we're left with what? 85? No, 65. 100 minus 85.
15.
15.
Divided by 2.
Divide by 2, $7.50 will be deducted from your SSI check.
Yes. So
and please report that.
Yes, please report that. Now, I just want to note, if I'm on SSDI, right, do I need to report, SSDI, do I need to report my work record?
Yes. Once you start working, always report it. Because what ends up happening is, yes, there's different types of work incentives. Social Security will always find out, because you as a responsible individual, at the end of the year, you're going to do your income taxes because you want money back at the end of the year. The IRS will let Social Security know that Tina Behnstedt has been working. She's receiving Social Security disability. And then Social Security's, all these flashing lights will go off. Oh, really? So let's see if Tina went over the amount of money she's supposed to earn, and does she owe us money back? Report to Social Security. Keep your records. Get an accordion folder. Put January's pay stubs in January's folder. You'd never want to work backwards.
I wouldn't keep the paper. I would scan it.
Scan it. Something.
Yes, 2024, January folder, February folder, everything. Mm-hmm. And then you can have an Excel.
Exactly.
So what is substantial gainful activity for 2024?
1,000.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Regina.
$1,550, $1,550.
That's for everybody else but blind.
Yes, and how much is it for someone that's blind?
$2,590.
Yes, yes.
Big difference.
Yes. So if an applicant's countable earnings are over SGA, the application will be denied.
Well, there's the magic word, countable earnings.
Mm-hmm.
If you use your work incentives like me, okay? When I used to go to work, I used to take SCAT to work. It cost me $160 to go to work. That is one of the IRWs, impaired related work expenses, that I need to go to work. So I would have to deduct the $160 from my monthly income, earned income, which then could bring down my pay that Social Security will count by $160. So I can work my expenses, my IRWs.
Impaired related work expenses, yes.
Yes, impaired related work expenses, what is left, and depending on how many IRWs you have, what is left is countable earnings, according to Social Security. So realistically, you can work, and if you're paying all this money for you to go to work, depending on what your expenses are, you can apply for Social Security disability.
So somebody was asking where, besides a good resource of the Red Book, and I guess the Red Book isn't fun to read, but quite honestly, I don't know if they have an audio version of it, but
you can request it.
An audio version, good. So if somebody wants to have questions in regard to what type of Social Security benefits they are on, what happens with work, what is a typical IRWI, impaired related work expense, there are other things too. What is it, subsidies?
Subsidies and special conditions?
Yes. So if I'm a person with a disability and I've been working at a bakery, and I've been working there for 2 years, my rate of work may be slower than somebody else's rate of work, right?
Correct.
And the manager might indicate that I work half of my peers. So my earnings would be reduced by half, correct?
Correct. So you're earning $2,000, but your duties are less. You're taking more time off. You're not expected to do so much, to do all of this work as you're somebody else in the same position. So only maybe 50%, 60% can count, 70%. It depends on what the employer will say. So instead of if you earned $2,000, Social Security will only count $1,000.
But what if I go to work and I have a job coach or someone that takes me to work and is there with me?
All the times, the time period that the job coach is with you is not going to be counted. So let's say if the job coach is with you 5 hours a month and you're getting paid $10 an hour, $50 out of that paycheck is not going to count.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about I just started working and the first 9 months, do I have to worry about that?
Oh, you can make $1 million. It won't matter.
Yes.
First 9 months, and it does not have to be consecutive.
Cumulative.
You can have 5 years to complete 5 months. 5 years to complete 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
So does not have to be consecutive.
Okay. So somebody was making a comment. Yes, www.ssa.gov is the website, and the download for the Red Book is there. And yes, you could call and ask for it to be sent to you. And what's lovely about the Red Book, the information never changes. the criteria so you can use 2024 for 2028. The only thing that's going to change is the SGA, the SSI, the numbers.
Yeah. And there's usually, if you go up on Social Security's website, you look up Social Security or COLA, COLA fact sheet for the year that you want, and the numbers are there. That's the only thing that changes. Everything else really does not change. And when there's major changes, you are notified of the fact. The palms will change, and then we get notifications, and I let my clients know. I let Regina knows about them. Mostly all the organizations who deal with benefits know about the changes also that come down.
Okay, so Tina, if I'm getting paid $2,000, and that's my paycheck, or I get $1,000 every 2 weeks, and then taxes are taken out, and my FICA, federal, and state. So these countable earnings, are they gross earnings or are they on my net earnings?
Social Security will always count gross.
Isn't that gross?
Before taxes.
I know, that's gross. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Oh, you're being funny, woman.
Yeah.
It is. It is horrible. It is horrible. The only people who get around that, depending on the work incentive, is individuals who are blind and receiving SSI. Then all those taxes are counted as expenses. Yeah.
Okay.
They call blind work.
Good to know. I did not know that. Okay.
Oh yeah. That's a funny one. That's a really interesting one. I wish I would have known about it. Because since I'm legally blind, there was a lot of things at that time when I became disabled, did not know any of these things. People who are legally blind or blind have a lot more expenses for you to go to work with.
Yes. So somebody passes away, and I will just tell you, if I pass away, my family goes to the funeral parlor. The funeral director, by law, will notify Social Security I am no longer. Okay, so if I was on retirement or, in that month, they're going to come back after they paid me on the 3rd of June and I died on June 15th. They're going to go back and claw back my Social Security retirement. So
Absolutely. They want it back.
Yep, they want it back. So I'm just telling you that a lot of people get, obviously they don't understand. And then what the other tough part is, then the bank is notified that somebody's passed away, and then sometimes they freeze the account. So there is that trickle effect for people. So just be careful about your Social Security. And if you have loved ones, our office tries to recommend adding someone on for convenience, because sometimes banks do freeze an account, and then your loved ones can't access and pay other bills, like your Con Ed bill still came in. Your house is still in your name. So,
and then you will get a letter in the mail saying that you've been overpaid.
So, there is that one-time death benefit that could go to a spouse or a child, depending upon which child, and that's $255 from Social Security. And didn't you have to fight for somebody?
I'm still fighting it.
They still haven't paid the $255.
I'm still fighting.
Well, actually, they did pay it, but it went to the wrong.
Yes, they paid it. They went to the wrong bank. The bank sent it back, and I am now 8 months into this, almost 9 months into this, and my client just received a letter stating that they're keeping it because of an overpayment. It's like, now I'm back on the phone again, and Social Security's terminology and letters are very strange. The letter I read was they're keeping it because of an overpayment. So I'm on the phone with Social Security directly. He goes, oh no, we're looking into the overpayment. We're not keeping it. We don't know that yet. I go, but your letter didn't say this. So now I still have to wait. My client still has to wait for this $255 because so-called an overpayment that was paid back in last March, because I have the records of it, that everything has been paid back.
So I just want to.
It gets very sticky at that time with when that happens, because then you're talking about survivors' benefits.
Right. So let's talk about survivors' benefits. So we talked about if you were a disabled adult child, right? What
Correct.
about minor children?
Minor children, again, prior to the age of 18, then you will get survivors' benefits up to the age of 18 or 19 if you're still in school. That is considered Social Security.
Yes.
If you're not a DAC yet, you can become a DAC at that time. The other most important part is your spouse now becomes eligible of the higher of the two Social Security benefits. So let's say Buddy and I, my husband Buddy, if God forbid something happens to Buddy, if his Social Security benefit is higher than mine, I would get Buddy's. And usually what they do is they will deduct the amount of money that I get from the amount of money that I should get on the Buddy's and give me the difference. So it will be mine and Buddy's. And that's how they come up with the higher amounts.
Okay, what if I am a spouse and my child is under the age of 16?
The child will still get Social Security. It'll get a certain percentage, about half of what the parent was getting, up to the age of 18 or 19, as long as they're still in school.
So if
and that amount, the amount of money depends how many children you have. That amount of money gets split up with all the kids.
Right. There's only one basket.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Okay. So a couple of thoughts. So Social Security, when you get your payment for Social Security, I want everyone to realize if you get SSI, you get it
on the first of each month.
Right. There's only one payee representative. They only allow one payee representative. It could be mother or father or, whoever that person is living with. And then if something happens to that person, the other parent or loved one could call saying that child is now living with me. A payee representative, luckily, doesn't involve court. I find it's a pretty straightforward process with Social Security.
It is. It's just one form. Form saying that the basic question is, the most important question is because that individual cannot handle financial decisions. Right.
Now, if I get this Social Security income, let's just say the full amount, $943, what am I spending it on?
Whatever the child needs. The child is going to be paying that rent out of that child or reimbursement.
Mm-hmm.
Though that is only for the child, of food or clothing, anything that child needs.
Right.
The young adult needs.
And it is not something for you to save. So it used to be Social Security. Remember that? They used to do that biannual reporting, like how much money we gave you. We gave you $10,000. Out of the $10,000, how much did you do with it? Yep.
I had to fill that out when my kids, I did it for my kids. I had to fill it out for my kids, and when they were getting Social Security only. Every year I got a form saying, okay, what did you do with this kid's money? My kids at that time were not that time they're not disabled. I just put it in the bank for them, and that's what I wrote on the form. If your child is disabled, you're going to put down, well, rent or reimbursement, clothing, food, whatever the child needs. Because the Social Security, you're the one who's going to be responsible for that child's money, that young adult's money. And God forbid of overpayments, Social Security in all actuality can't come after you, not the child.
Right.
So records is very, very important. Reporting is very important.
So I highlighted this. This was a weird one. Remarriage. So I think,
I like that one.
Yeah. So, to qualify for a spouse, you had, and if the person, you had to be married at least 10 years, right? And you could qualify for your spouse's or ex-spouse's Social Security when you
early retirement,
when you retire. Now,
mm-hmm.
I thought this was weird. You can't get surviving spouse's benefits if you remarry before the age of 60. Isn't that weird? Usually you can't get. So
it is a weird one. There's also that if you remarry and it is prior to, you can get married prior to the age of 60.
Right. But remarriage after the age of 60 or age 50 if you have a disability won't prevent you from getting benefit payments based upon your former spouse's work.
No.
So if I'm married, this is what it said.
I know.
I know. So I'm married, and I was married for 15 years. I divorced, right? And later on, I am 61. I remarry, right?
Right.
So now I have a choice of the first marriage or the second marriage. Does Social Security allow me to pick the higher earnings?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So choose your spouses carefully and when to marry.
Yeah. And this is the best. If the guy or woman been married 4 or 5 times, each spouse can claim on that person's Social Security number.
Yes.
So if I had 5 husbands,
oy vey.
Yeah, then I can go for the highest. Or if I had 5 husbands and mine was higher, each ex-husband can apply under my Social Security. Doesn't matter, as long as you're married over the 10 years.
Right. So I think we talked about that. And
yeah, surviving divorced spouses. Yeah.
Yep. Now, so if your child, again, if you're divorced and your other's parent retires, you could be the payee representative for your child's Social Security. And it won't, and then later on when you retire, it won't affect the benefit amounts going to
the original worker. Correct. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Regina, because I can't read this very well. Did you put down grandparents here also?
No, I didn't. Tell us about grandparents.
If I'm raising a child, my granddaughter, because
yep.
There's no parents around or parents were not suitable to raise this child.
Yep.
My grandchild can apply for benefits under my work history.
Yes, yes. Okay, so
adopted children also, same way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is, go ahead.
Highlights, go ahead.
Highlights. So Social Security will change your payments to survivor benefits. We kind of touched upon this when you were talking about you get your own Social Security retirement and then you get a portion of your spouse's.
Correct.
So the Social Security, how they base the benefit amount on the earnings of the person who died. The more the worker paid into Social Security, the greater the benefits are. Now, I think I have in here on the slide, go on to Social Security website again, www.ssa.gov, and open your own Social Security account. I think it would save you a lot of trouble, and you can toggle back and forth. What if I retire at 62? What if I retire at 66 or 67 or 70? There's a lot of things that you can go back and forth with, and you can get some information with that account instead of calling. Some people like to call 1-800. And what's the average lead time if you call?
I don't know. You're going to be waiting a minimum of an hour and a half unless you call in early in the morning when they first start opening up their phones. You're better off going online and create your account. They have a calculator and you can figure out to your last penny as what you would be eligible for. Mm-hmm. I tell people, get your Social Security statement. They used to mail them to people. Sometimes they still do. Most of the time they don't right now. And you have an idea of what you would be eligible for if you were disabled today, or if you were the age 70 today, or your retirement age. Let's see, after 55, 56, 57, the year 56, 57, your retirement age will be 66 and 10 months or 67 years old in a few months. And you will be able to find out. Now, sometimes if you do retire earlier than your full retirement age, you can still work. There's an amount of money that you're allowed to earn for the year. So who says that you can't retire a little bit early, keep working, and you have your Social Security check and your paycheck?
Yes.
Then you can go out and buy milk.
Yes. So in regard to survivor benefits, promptly, so just because the funeral director contacted Social Security about your spouse, I still want the person to notify Social Security because you may, as we talked about, you're entitled to certain claims. And that $255, don't they let that lapse if I found out about it like a year or two later? I call up.
Yes. It does lapse. And They want that death certificate, the original. They will mail it back to you.
Right.
Me, I have a habit. I like seeing people in person. I want to get it stamped as saying that Social Security received this. But they will mail you back the original. They do not want copies of a death certificate. They want the original.
Okay. So questions and contact information. I think if you notice, during this whole time, Tina is the benefit consultant. If you have questions about Social Security, if you by mistake called my office, I'll say talk to someone like Tina, because she is the benefits consultant. I do not apply for Social Security. Obviously, I want people to be aware of their rights and their benefits. We don't want to leave money on the table. We want to see Social Security benefits, especially for those disabled adult children. And it's lovely when they receive Social Security, disability income, Medicare, and Medicaid. It's a wonderful thing. Now, in regard to your own benefits for yourself, it's important to know what your benefits are. And yeah, maybe you could have a part-time job if you're under Social Security disability. So, for example, if I became disabled, I've paid into the Social Security system. I could qualify for Social Security disability. But maybe I want to stay active a little bit, so I will work, just to make sure that I'm paying into Social Security, because you know what the lovely thing is, when you pay into Social Security, you're going to get it back, and look, your children may be getting it back. So it is important. I know some people they like to work off the books. In this situation, if I worked off the books and my disabled adult child, they would never qualify for anything but SSI, right? Because I have no work record.
Because you have no work record. And Social Security, disability insurance, SSDI, this is not free money. This is your money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is yours. This is money that you put in for you to retire at the age of 66 or 67.
Sorry, I just dropped my phone. So I want to talk about our next meeting, which is going to be July 17th. And it's going to be on work incentives. We're going to go over a little bit more in depth when somebody goes back to work on SSDI and or they start working on SSI. And then the topic overpayments. And if I could leave this thought with you, and we see this quite constantly. Sometimes people get something in the mail and they look at it and they panic and they put it to the side and then they don't address it.
It will come back to haunt you.
It will. So don't be afraid to call. It is important. There are ways that we could minimize the catastrophe that you think that you are encountering. And it's important for people not to be afraid. And there are a number of well-meaning parents, loved ones, that just kind of shelve it, and then it just, it continues to haunt them. That's not healthy for you, not healthy for your family. So don't be afraid. And let me just give you Tina's number. 631-263-3651. Behnstedt Consulting LLC at gmail.com. I'm an attorney. I do a lot of trust, wills, special needs trust, elder law. I love doing those documents. I do not do Social Security, but it is important for you to be aware of your benefits. So thank you so much for participating in tonight's event. I know it's not an exciting topic, but I think Tina made it.
But it is an informative topic. Believe me, once you start learning the terminology, it is easy. It's going to become second nature to you.
Mm-hmm. Tina loves a puzzle.
But this is what it is. It really is a puzzle. SSD, SSI, Medicare, Medicaid, DAC. You can have it all. Just know the only thing you need to know is how earned income affects it.
Yes.
You can have it all.
Yes. Tina, by the way, I really love your nails. Lovely color.
Thank you. Like it? My granddaughter picked these out.
Nice. Very, very lovely. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. And we will see you in July. In the meantime, have a safe and quiet 4th of July.
Impossible. Enjoy your evening, guys, and have a great weekend.
All right. Take care.
Ciao.